Good day mates, my name is Jack Williams, also known as the Bill Nye of Australia, and I've been contractually obligated to talk to you about the phases of the moon. Before we begin, let's take a look at what the moon looks like when it's in the night sky.
Oh, hell, mate. Moon ain't out tonight. God damn it.
As you might know, the moon changes its appearance whenever it spins around the Earth. We've given fancy little names to these, and they all look somewhat different. As a quick side note, since the amount of time it takes the moon to spin and the amount of time it takes the moon to orbit the Earth are the same, we only ever see one side of the moon. The first phase is known as the new moon. As you can see, you can't see it. That's because the moon is currently in between the Earth and the Sun, so the Sun's light is hitting the side of the moon we can't see, which makes the other side as dark as an alley in Melbourne. At this point, the lit side of the moon will begin to appear more and more, as if it's growing. We use the word waxing for this, because why would we use growing? Waxing sounds so much better. The next phase is called the waxing crescent. A small sliver of light is visible on this side, making the moon look like a crescent if you squint hard enough. Eventually, an entire half of the moon that we can see is covered in light, so the logical thing to call it is the first quarter. Now, I know that sounds a tad bit odd, but there is an explanation. Remember how only one side of the moon is visible to us? Well, that means that the half that we see is actually only a quarter of the entire moon's surface, hence the name. There's still one more phase before the moon is completely lit up. This phase, called the waxing gibbous, is essentially like a crescent moon, but the crescent part is dark and the other part is light. Only a small sliver of darkness is left. Finally, we reach the big one, the one people have been writing about in folklore for hundreds of years, the full moon. Once again, we have a deceptive name, as the entire moon isn't exposed, but only one half. The rest of the phases are essentially repeats of the ones we've already talked about, so I'll run through them quickly. Like the word waxing, the word waning means to shrink. This is used because the light side of the moon from this point appears to shrink. Waning gibbous, the dark side is beginning to take up more of the surface. Third quarter, like the first quarter, but it's the third. Waning crescent, only a small sliver of light is left. With this, we have reached the new moon again. So, after about 27 days and a lot of pain, we have covered all of the moon phases. I have been Jack Williams. Thank you for listening, and I lost my visa at the airport. Hi again, I'm Jack Williams, and this is a sponsored segment about BoardVPN, also known as Board Watching All Pedestrians. Using BoardVPN, you can make sure that no one steals your personal information, such as how many times you've looked up the capital of Australia. It's not Sydney, by the way. Using my little link in the description lets you get at least 0.1% off your subscription. Thank you for viewing, and thanks to BoardVPN, also known as Board Watching All Pedestrians, for the brilliant sponsor.